Over the past week, I have consumed the full playthrough of the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League to have proper context on this video and doing a breakdown and, well, lending my commentary over the top of it, seeing if it was all of the backlash was due or whether it was just being blown out of proportion. Shout out to Mauler for enduring that incredibly boring game. And, well, on top of all of the controversy, here's the thing, like the gameplay itself is absolute trash. Like, I've never been one for the looter shooters, the Borderlands, the Destinies, the Anthem for the 10 seconds that was up. Never really been my style, just the boring point and click and then just numbers show up on the screen and explosions and oh my god, my crates and my sounds. And it's just the sound design in this game specifically was one of the most off-putting things ever. That and then just the nauseating color correction that they had over the top of it that just made everything so sickly to look at. Just think about Joss Whedon's cut of the Justice League, the one that everybody hates and says is so far inferior to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Spoiler, it's actually not. They're both trash. The game itself, holy crap, it is everything. Like this headline indicates, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is everything that's wrong with modern video games. It's loud, the characters don't shut up, they're trying to be funny, and they aren't. Oh, they're definitely not. And they're squandering so much talent. When it comes to the main cast, like, Harley Quinn is the most insufferable thing that I've ever subjected myself to listening to, and I was just simply watching along on 1.5, 2.0 speed. Thank God. You had Samoa Joe, who has a great voice, who has great delivery, put on the weirdest accent possible for King Shark, and then you had this bastardized Australian accent that is barely recognizable that would induce Steve Irwin, if he was brought back to life, to jam another stingray barb through his heart if he heard that again. The Captain Boomerang was atrocious, and then just the blank slate that was Deadshot. It's like, oh yeah, weren't you white in one of the previous games? Now you're black. That's kind of weird. Wow, that just happened. Oh my god, the writing is ass, the gameplay is atrocious, and then the disrespect to the legacy characters over the top of it made this even worse. Chances are, over the past week, if you follow any of this stuff, you have heard I did a video on the Kevin Conroy stuff, and guys, it actually gets worse. Just the tonal whiplash, and frankly, I'm going to have to show you at the end of Mauler's playthrough how terrible that was. But the fact that people weren't talking about the disrespect that they did to the character of the Flash or so is like that was a big miss right there, because okay, at the beginning of the game, right, like the whole premise of the game is Brainiac, the Superman villain, comes in and he mind controls a bunch of the members of the Justice League, and you know, even with Batman that's over there who always has a contingency for everything and then a contingency for that contingency. Why he ended up getting snatched up by Brainiac, don't know, don't care. It ultimately ended up happening. Got him under control, got Superman under control, and then got Jon Stewart's Superman, not that, you know, creepy, unfunny comedian, but, you know, the Black Green Lantern, who's a good Green Lantern, by the way, and it's just, you know, that's the one that differentiates him from Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, and I forget the other name of the other Lantern that's out there, but it's a good one. Has a great backstory, and there's a reason that they picked him, because he was one of the good ones, because he's a former serviceman. Unbelievable. Just the ideological possession behind, you know, the people that, you know, currently occupy Rocksteady, can't be for much longer after we get into some of the numbers behind this, is detestable. But yes, Flash starts the game not being brainwashed, and then on not one, but two occasions saves the Suicide Squad. And how do they repay him after he ends up getting injured, taken, abducted by Green Lantern, and then ultimately brainwashed by Brainiac? Oh right, Captain Boomerang pisses on his corpse after he dies. After some of the most illogical, it's like, okay, cool, a brainwashed Flash could have killed all four of them very, very quickly, because a speedster at the rate of Flash is very hard to account for writing-wise, and the people behind this have absolutely no experience, and they are fully and totally out of their depth in order to adequately negate the powers of the Flash, showing that he could go ahead and rip the heart of the chest of Lex Luthor, but then at the same time, he's going to go ahead and let everybody live because they got infinite plot armor. He wouldn't go ahead and treat them all to the exact same treatment when ultimately that's what he wants to do. It makes no sense at all whatsoever, but no. instead of treating somebody who they know is very much brainwashed, somebody who is ostensibly the person who saved them on not one but two occasions, they unceremoniously kill him in one of the most unimaginative boss fights, which all of them are, by the way. Kill him. They go to Captain Boomerang goes to piss on his corpse after some goofy, pathetic one-liner in an attempt to be funny. Takes his dick out, and everybody's like, no, man, you should probably treat him. I think it's Deadshot who ends up making the call on that one. No, man, you shouldn't do... Wow, and then just notes how big his dick is. And because of that, allows him to piss on the corpse of the Flash. Unbelievable. And then you have Wonder Woman, who is apparently the most revered character in all of the DC pantheon. Gee, I wonder why. Treats the Suicide Squad with a requisite amount of respect. Doesn't really do anything to benefit them. Ultimately goes and tries to neutralize Superman. Ultimately dies in the conflict with him, even though she has a piece of kryptonite, and instead of fashioning it into a weapon like a sword or a spear or something like that, she decides to put it into her shield and then try to fight Superman by bashing him with it. It's totally fucking dumb. But no, she ends up getting a hero send-off, a big emotional farewell where all of the Suicide Squad adequately pay her all the respect in the world. Unbelievable. And why nobody's talking about the death of Superman in this is because, well, it's such an afterthought, because he's not the final boss. He's not respected at all. Fuck, I watched the playthrough. I don't even remember it. It is so forgettable. They have this boss fight, which all of them are the same. Wow, gee, we're all just gonna hop in this big arena. We're just gonna click on the guy until he ends up dying, and then there's, some maudlin cutscene. But oh look, here comes Brainiac. We could just go ahead and get rid of quite possibly the most famous superhero of all time. He just dies. Don't worry about it. We have gold kryptonite that an alternate diversion or an alternate dimension Lex Luthor had to create after he had to go and kidnap Batman after this terrible Scarecrow inspired, oh my god, like my brain hurts even just trying to remember this stuff and articulate it properly. This Scarecrow inspired boss fight from the Arkham series, because this is still a continuation of the Arkham series, where both sides of this, the brainwashed Batman side and the Suicide Squad, are both mentally compromised because they both have adverse fear toxins coursing through their veins, because somehow it makes sense, because if you both have fear toxins running through one another, if your fear toxin goes and counteracts the other party's fear toxin, they'll go ahead and neutralize it, and that you guys can both have this this big kaiju monster type boss battle, and it'll totally make sense. Trust me. Like, it's so bafflingly absurd. And then, of course, the clip that everybody's seen where Harley Quinn has this maudlin, awful monologue where Kevin Conroy in his final video game, there's been some dispute whether or not this is the final Kevin Conroy appearance as Batman, full stop, but at least in the confines of a video game performance, yeah, that seems to be the last one on deck. There might be a couple of other lines that are out there, and then that's been disputed as well, saying that maybe those were in negotiations, but Kevin was too sick in order to record those, so there might still be something out there, and that this won't be the last representation of him in the digital cowl. It's just all so disgusting. And then at the end, to do something tonally as gross as this, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna play, okay, because there are three things that are just smashed all together, and it'll give you a good representation of what you can expect from just the non-stop stimulation that this game wants to go ahead and pump into your veins. Colors, sounds, noises, attempts at jokes. It's like they never give you a down period. This right here, this was disgusting to see, okay? You got the credits rolling after, you finally beat Brainiac, and then it's promised during the rest of the seasons that are definitely not going to get canceled, and judging on the, all the available metrics. No, there's going to be 12 other Brainiacs. 12! It's not just one uninspired boss battle that you can go ahead and replay. Oh, over the course of the length of this live service game, which, top of the bad story, repetitive gameplay, and the disrespect to the legacy characters. Oh, yeah, it's always online, which was a big problem for gamers back in the cut, but now all of a sudden you can just go ahead and accept that. But even when you're playing the single player mode, you still need to be online all the time, and Mauler, for a couple of his playthroughs, ended up getting disconnected, meaning, okay, it just ended up losing, yes, connection with the server. Nothing else, okay, obviously still streaming and all that stuff, gets booted out loses the progress that he made in his current session and then restarted to a previous checkpoint. That happened no less than 3 or 4 times during his relatively short playthrough, because this was about, what, 12 hours, and that was still, you know, stopping and reassessing his life and reading super chats and all that stuff. And he was playing on the hardest difficulty, so yeah, not a long game, it's not an inspired game, and frankly, it's kind of a disgusting game. So let's go ahead and play some of this. Because when I seen this, it's like, this is, wow, totally disgusting.
Fucking hell, skip that, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. So those are the credits that end up running right there at the end. It's just like loud noises. It's like, oh my God, we get it. And then this was obviously stapled on right at the end. And
God.
Metropolis, this is Lois Lane.
Oh, here we go.
From all reports, it seems that Batman is gone.
Yeah?
As Batman and as Bruce Wayne, everyone knew him. Everyone knew his voice. Always prepared, he left a communication with the Daily Planet in the event of, well...
Yo, you're trying to have affected Lois Lane over the top of this too, huh? Who, again, all of your helpful characters outside of one of DC's little trinket makers, all of them just happen to be good female characters. And wow, there's you have Amanda Waller, you have a little Greta Thunberg, Poison Ivy. Then your little upgrade VI is a strong, empowered black female. Then you have Lois Lane doing a couple of interjections with all of her, you know, hot journalism, not caring at all whatsoever with what's happening with Superman, which totally seems on point for her. And then also coupled with Wonder Woman's dossier, because there's dossiers on all of the characters that are down there, of hers being 4 times longer than everybody else's, and in fact including a line that, you know, on top of all of her other superpowers, she also has the ability to navigate, brace for impact, toxic masculinity. Yo, this game's rotten completely to the core, but this right here it's gross.
It reads, when I put on the cowl, I became a symbol. But I never stopped being Bruce Wayne, citizen of Gotham. Remember that we are all handed adversity in our lives. No one's journey is easy. It's how we handle that, how we help others, that makes us unique. That's what the Batman will always stand for.
How fucking inappropriate at the end of this game.
Yep.
We'll get through this.
Holy shit.
And Batman, goodbye.
Wow.
You will be missed, but never forgotten.
Even the line about the voice. Oh my God. I feel so...
Yeah, this is gross.
How did you know to do
gross.
this? But you kept everything the same about his death scene. I don't understand.
Yeah. And then right after that...
How can you put this on the end of this game?
And then, mission accomplished. And then just slam bang into more. It's just pew, 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 pew. Man, shout out to Mauler for doing that. But I had to show you guys that, because that physically made me ill when I seen that. And that still is just disgusting to see. But it's so funny to have watched that full playthrough. It's so funny to see all of the reactions from everybody online. I just simply watched Mauler's playthrough of it. To see all of this, and then to see the unique way that the public perception is being curated, I find that a little bit suspicious. According to this guy, I haven't played Suicide Squad, and I have no intention of buying it, so you might think that I'm not qualified to talk about it. However, the problems I have with it are a little to do with the game itself, more of the publisher's logic that led to it being such a mess and ruining one of the most promising developers in the process. Yeah, well, just add it to the pile with BioWare, Naughty Dog. It's just that list continues to grow bigger and bigger. A lot of people are finally coming to the conclusion that maybe Bethesda and its different subsidiaries should probably be thrown on there. You can argue whether Batman Arkham Knight was a step down from the first 2 or not. I remember that, a controversy that was going on at the time. Holy! Back in 2015, Rocksteady Studios was one of the most respected developers in the world, and then the PC version of the game came out, and it didn't work for like 80% of players, and ended up instantly instituting Steam's refund policy. It was that bad at the time, but need not tread over that well-worn ground. And the first mistake was waiting so long before announcing what they were working on in 2020, before the Suicide Squad was announced, with a trailer that didn't explain what it was. And for 5 years before that, Rocksteady seemed to have fallen off the face of the earth, and everyone stopped thinking about them. There's a special irony to them waiting so long to reveal anything, because it basically missed the entire superhero movie fad. Yeah, because, what was it, Arkham Asylum came out in 2008, and then a couple years later, City was out, and then Origins, which was kind of perceived as being a step back, but a lot of people now specifically are reassessing it by saying, oh, you know what, the boss fights are good. And then Arkham Knight, now that it works for everybody, it's like, no, it's actually pretty good. But yeah, just think with like the MCU at the peak of its powers, and you know, the Arkham games being as well regarded as they were, and basically, like, when it came to superhero video games, there was nothing really coming out at that time. Wild to think about just the missed opportunities. And once again, you know, it's perfectly summarized with the Suicide Squad right here. It's just the writing behind these games, the writing behind these movies ended up killing the genre well before they were out of source material, well before they were out of good ideas. They just immediately jumped to all of the bad ideas. In 2022, it was announced that the studio heads of Rocksteady were leaving the company more than a year before Suicide Squad was released. It pretty much says it all, especially as it came at the same time as there were new rumors, and there's now a live service game, just as it has become fashionable, with every publisher thinking that they were going to make the next Fortnite or Genshin Impact, and it was Sony's idea too. And yeah, we know how that's going. Yeah, kind of disgusting. Or still, half of the problem is that Warner Brothers, oh boy, was chasing trends. Yep, always a day late and a dollar short, even on the video game front, which not only hardly ever works out, but less likely to because of how long games take to make. Now maybe if this had come out 3 or 4 years ago, it could have been a hit. Nah, that's some revisionist history type shit that might have ended up selling a few more copies, because guys, this one, Yoshi DOA, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is getting positive reviews, but no one is playing it. Yeah, very interesting. And I've seen a couple of these, and we're going to pull up the Steam page on this because I find it very interesting. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League didn't do itself any favors in the lead up to its launch, but now that it's out, strange things are happening. Rocksteady's third-person shooter is getting favorable reviews, but at the same time, very few players were eager to Kill the Justice League on the opening weekend, which, yeah, it's going to have its most hype, and even with the early release and everybody playing it, well, it's not good. Many of us thought Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would be dead on arrival thanks to a PR suicide to the game's pre-launch campaign, with red flags waving left and right, leading to unfathomably low expectations. Surely, the only way to go was up. We're happy to report so far the Kill the Justice League seems to be proving all doubters wrong, and it's receiving very positive reviews. But alas, there's much to be desired in terms of the player base, and this is where it gets very interesting. Steam reviews for the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League are currently sitting at 85% approval, which translates to a very positive overall rating. High approval on Steam are usually rare. It's usually reserved for the games that have very good marketing, if we're going to be completely honest, because some of the best games that are out there never really seem to get a fair shake. But it's never as egregious to the likes of, like, you know, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, or anything like that. It's normally pretty decent, but this one's raising some eyebrows, to be completely honest. So far, so good. But not all Steam numbers for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League are positive. The number of Rocksteady and Warner Brothers care most about, the player count, was woefully disappointing the opening weekend. It was supposed to push for in what was supposed to be a push for relevance, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League only pulled 13,500 players as its peak. The day before, which was being covered by a lot of outlets as being an outright scam, which by all accounts it seems to be, had nearly 40,000 players at peak. This game only has 13,500 players at peak. huge discrepancy. It seems to be strange at first. And what was it like? Even the doomed Marvel Avengers game, which, practically sunk, Crystal Dynamics, another one is Square Enix's stupid Western studios, cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. And it sure seems to be the same likely fate for this and Rocksteady. Going from dead on arrival to mostly positive reviews is a good start, but yeah, Rocksteady will have to live up to its promise of quality post-launch content. Yeah, fight Brainiac 12 more times. Like I said, I was perusing the Steam store, and obviously, I have the client, but I have it pulled up on the web browser that's right here. So yeah, very positive, 2,400 reviews. Interesting. That definitely says something. Look at how pricey games are in Canada. Makes me sick to my stomach, but whatever. That's why I only play just a few of them, and please, for the love of God, Rebirth be great. But yeah, looking at the very positive. Well, first it starts off with somebody not recommending the game after 8.8 hours. Okay, not worth $70. A gameplay becomes repetitive, very much so. I currently can't play solo due to the bug that only allows me to play when others invite me to their server. That's crazy. Not just worth the hassle. Wait till bugs are fixed and it's on sale. Sure. This guy, after just about 8 hours, 6.9 nice hours at the time of his review, not worth $70. Okay. And then, there's a positive one. After 5.7 hours in the game, people are going to love this when it's $30. Interesting. Then you got another positive one that's on the side from Yeetman57. Skibbity Bee Toilet. Positive. Fun to play, fun characters. Gameplay is a bit repetitive after a while, but the story carries so far. Interesting. Even somebody who received the game and has put in just about 48 hours. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Received it for free. Kill the Justice League is the latest in a string of half-baked, ill-conceived live service looter shooters that ultimately waste the talents of the studio that could have made a better game. Is Skill Up like an actual review site? Okay, because that seems to be familiar, but okay, yeah, makes sense. Wait for discount on another positive review, but that's what I'm seeing out here. Borderlands, yeah, Cross Sunset Overdrive with a DC skin. But all the positive reviews, they all come with a caveat, not worth $70, though few games are. That's interesting, because if that's going to be your most glowing praise for a game that has absolutely nobody playing it, and it's going to be hilarious what's going to end up coming out next weekend. I mean, thank God nobody's supporting this boring, hateful, repetitive, modern-day garbage. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.